Yes, everybody, hope you're doing fantastic. Well, it is Connor here. We are back with your rumour mill, as I say all the time. I hope you're doing fantastically well. Now, listen, it's been a bit hectic at McGilligan HQ here. Over the past couple of days, I've had my dissertation in, which has been chaotic. Obviously, I'm full time with the channel now, so I'm trying to get everything on point. But I just want to let you know, guys, that I'm trying to do stuff every single day. You saw yesterday when I was out and about celebrating, I just had to make a video. I had to make an update for you guys for Diego Llorente, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. We'll get into that in a minute, but your support is amazing, so thank you so much. I put a little bit of just a little banner over the bottom there, just because a lot of people question when you put new things on the channel. It's just with regards to PayPal and patrons, anything like that. When you're doing stuff full time, you guys all know working that you need help from your customers. You guys have been amazing. Even if it's just little bits, 50p here, 50p there, it really does help me do this full time and actually put everything into it. Otherwise, I have to go and get another job and just do this part-time. So thank you so much for your continued support as well. Just a little bit of a disclaimer. Anytime with streaming, there is problems with internet, I will do a re-upload. I'll do a 10-minute upload, a pre-upload, which will be on the channel within hopefully an hour. I apologize. We're getting the internet sorted. It's just extremely difficult at this moment in time to get everything crystal clear. So if there are issues here, there, and everywhere, I apologize. I'm working my absolute hardest to get all these things sorted. So a few disclaimers there, guys, just before we start with the video. But I hope you're all doing, as I say, fantastically well for the third time. A little bit of an update as well. We have the opposition previews out later on, which I will say were a bit spicy this week. Sheffield United versus Leeds United, the Yorkshire derby, coming up on Sunday, 11:30. So make sure you tune in for that. It was, some interesting thoughts from the boys, Shore and View and in good nick. So make sure you tune in for that one. But as I say, I hope you're all doing really well. Let's get into it. So there's a few things to talk about in terms of Leeds United today. So let's get straight into the news. So with regards to yesterday, obviously we're talking about this man, Mikel Cousins. Now, Cousins is at Bayern Munich, and just a little bit of an update, just sort of on that. I don't really see that going anywhere, to be quite frank. Reasoning behind that is because Cousins, I believe, is going to be part of Bayern Munich's plans. If he was to go anywhere, it would be a loan spell. I don't think Leeds are interested in the loan spell. We want a sign-in. 21 years of age, a fantastic footballer, classed as a wonder kid, and someone who, what a signing he would be. I don't know if it's going to get over the line, to be quite frank. I think it's going to be a bit too difficult and too expensive for the Whites to get that one done. So I think that is one and done, to be quite frank. But let's see what some of you guys are saying. Best news for Leeds stuff. Thank you so much. Just hearing what a few of you guys are saying. Afternoon. Anyway, let's get into, so we've got Michael Cousins as well. There's this stuff with Rodrigo De Paul is continuing, and it is boring, to be honest. It does bore me a hell of a lot, because it's just like, are we doing this? Are we not doing this? It's the big news today or yesterday is obviously the fact that it was the news has come in that Pereira from Watford has actually come in for Udinese. Obviously, Pozzo owns Watford and he owns Udinese as well. So that transfer has happened. Pereira plays in the cam role. So is that going to be Leeds United maybe getting, a little bit of a boost in terms of Rodrigo De Paul? There's been stuff all online today. Apparently, Victor Orta's been spotted in Manchester Airport, yada, yada, yada. So, there was a plane apparently to Venice and all this sort of stuff. So the rumour mill is absolutely, it's spiked today. It really has. So that's good. Because we need that content. But yeah, so Rodrigo De Paul, I have no idea. We don't know. Is that going to last? It doesn't seem. We're listening to the Phil Hay podcast this morning. Leeds haven't budged. We've not made I don't know if we've made a substantial offer, but we haven't. We don't value him over 25. So if Pozzo's looking at that 35, 40, why is he bringing Pereira in? Surely he's bringing Pereira in to potentially be a substitute for Rodrigo De Paul. That's how you'd see it. But who knows? We don't know with European football. Is De Paul being shaped to go somewhere else? Who knows? It looks like we're in the firing line. He's been liking Leeds posts, but that doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. We've seen that with Gvardiol. So that's definitely something to look at with regards to transfers. So as you said, as Slam Dunk says, maybe he is just a plane spotter. Maybe he is. Maybe he just enjoys watching planes. But yeah, and obviously there was some news on this man yesterday, Ross Barkley. Apparently, Aston Villa and Everton are interested in Ross Barkley. Would he fit into our system? As I said yesterday, I think he would. He's a very good player, very versatile on the front sort of three, really. Would fit in a 4-2-3-1 system. Leeds don't really play 4-2-3-1. It's more sort of obviously 4-1-4-1, so he'd have to do a lot of defensive duty. So I don't know if Barkley would be perfect there. His wages are going to be astronomical. So for me, that isn't a goer. It isn't a goer at all. So yeah, that's going to be something to keep an eye on. So a development this morning as well. This young man, Milo Rashica. Now he's a player for Werder Bremen. Aston Villa have been very, very interested in him. There's been a lot of talk about him. I think about 20 million. But there's been issues with Villa and Werder Bremen over the negotiation on his wage structure, which is apparently he wants a substantial wage structure. Now, is that something that Leeds could go in for? Is that something that Leeds could pip Villa to? Apparently, there's been talks this morning of Leeds looking at Milo Rashica. So that's interesting to see whether or not we get that one over the line. But once again, we're clearly looking at alternatives to Rodrigo De Paul. That is, for me, it's absolutely evident. So keep getting your requests in the comment section below in terms of that. So I just think it's a good way. It's alternatives, and we all know alternatives. We don't want to be held to ransom. We've seen that with sort of the Dan James saga, Shea Adams saga, where they just take the mick really. But Leeds are going to hang on in there till the very end for me for Rodrigo De Paul. But it's good that we're exploring alternatives like Milanovsky and Milo Rashica. So for better value as well, you'd have to say. So let's see what other people are saying with regards to that. Now, this one for me is the big one. Now, the reason I'm going to bring you news for Ryan Kent today, a lot of you are saying, Connor, have you got actually any news regarding Ryan Kent? Well, there's been an update this morning, obviously, with Nicola Sturgeon and what's going on in Scotland with regards to the coronavirus restrictions. Obviously, it's very strict up there. We're not going to get into that. It's a bad period we're all in now. But obviously, with regards to fans not coming back to football as well, Scottish football and football in general is in peril, really. But Scottish football substantially is. They had a great Europa run last year, did Rangers, but apparently they're in about 11 to 14 million. They made a loss. They essentially made a loss this year when the accounts were released. Now, a journalist on Sky Sports, Walker, forgive me, I can't remember his name, but he was essentially saying on Sky Sports that Rangers might be forced to sell Ryan Kent. Obviously, that him being the biggest asset, them needing money. Right now, they made a loss, even though they had a great Europa League campaign last year. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see whether or not Leeds are going to go in. I think Dan James, as Phil Hayes says, is going to be sort of the number one target in terms of winger. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see whether or not Leeds go back in for a Ryan Kent offer. And, Steven Gerrard can say this, that, and the other, but it essentially doesn't matter at the end of the day with regards to that, because if they need the money, they need the money. So that's not up to Steven Gerrard. That's not up to Ryan Kent having a great start to the season. That is just the facts of life, and we're in a really difficult moment. And I always talk about the coronavirus and the economic crisis that many clubs are going through. Leeds have obviously been trying to make it viable economically with all of our different streams and all this sort of stuff. So we seem to be doing okay, but it's going to affect Leeds as well. But Rangers, making a loss last year, they'll obviously make a loss this year with regards to everything that's going on. So they may be forced to sell some of the good assets and the most expensive assets. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. A really interesting report this morning with regards to Ryan Kent. Russell Thompson says, Connor, what do you think about Kent? I can't stress enough about how good he would be as a number 10 role behind the strikers. You guys all know how much I like Ryan Kent. A lot of people saying 20 million, why on earth would you? He's had a great season so far for Rangers, even though it's pretty much just started. But the big thing for me with Ryan Kent is it's his first real pre-season that's been injury-free. And he's had a full pre-season as well, and he looks absolutely brilliant. Rangers' best player, arguably the best player in the SPL at the minute. Why would we not bring him down? I think under Bielsa, he's got a lot of potential to improve. There's been a lot of talk about Diego Llorente, not at his peak right now, but there is the ability for Diego Llorente to improve. That's the exact same scope with Ryan Kent, and he's actually at a top level right now in terms of what he's delivering week in, week out on the pitch. So I'm a massive fan of Ryan Kent. And I think in this Bielsa system, with how dynamic and quick he is and how direct he is, I love how direct Ryan Kent is. Gets the ball, runs at defenders. And defenders, you can be Virgil van Dijk, you can be whoever, Sergio Ramos. There is nothing worse than an attacker just standing you up and running at you, because it forces the defender to make a decision. We saw that even with Joe Bryan attacking down that left wing with Robin Koch last weekend. So it forces the defender to make a decision, and they hate that. They would much rather you go square, build from the wing so they can knob the ball out. That's what a defender wants. That's what a centre-half wants. They do not want a Ryan Kent standing them up and running at them. It'd be an absolute nightmare. I think he'd be brilliant in this particular system for me. Ryan Kent ticks every box, mate, says Russell again. Manju says Leeds over Rangers. A lot of you guys so it's talking about this. Slam Dunk saying, for me, Kent doesn't want to move, so the attitude may need adjusting if he's part of a forced sale. I mean, to be honest, mate, he's not going to come out at Rangers and say, yeah, I want to leave, I want to leave, I want to leave. He's part of a project there. The likelihood is Rangers probably won't let him go, but at the same time, you know, he's got Gerrard there, the Liverpool link. Rangers are a big club, and he's settled there. He is settled, but at the same time, they may be forced to sell. And Ryan Kent, I'm sure his mindset, like we've seen with Ben White, Ben White's mindset has adapted to Brighton, even though he wanted to come to Leeds. I'm sure that can flip both ways, and that would work with Ryan Kent. He's playing at the Premier League at a massive club, and I'm sure Ryan Kent would adjust to that perfectly fine. Otherwise, Leeds wouldn't be in for him. But yeah, as Liam says here, is the 20 million release clause true? That has been reported by several outlets now as well. Would you pay 20 million for Ryan Kent? That's the different... You know, obviously you're going to question that. I would personally, but that's just me. If it's 15 with add-ons, that's fine by me. But obviously, as fans, we're not the ones paying the money, so it's easy for us to say. But apparently, it's been rumoured that from a lot of sources that his release clause is 20 million. But I think we could get him for lower than that. It's my personal opinion. But yeah. Let's have a look at what else is going on. So, yeah, as I said, we were talking about Rashica earlier. Villa are not willing to meet Milo Rashica's wage demands after agreeing a fee with Werder Bremen for the winger. We've obviously seen that with Rodrigo De Paul and Leeds as well. So what else is coming on? Now, Liverpool, Leeds and Brighton are battling to sign Motherwell's highly rated teenage defender Sam Campbell. The trio have had bids accepted for this 16-year-old. The PA news agency understands Campbell is yet to decide on the move, with all three Premier League clubs trying to persuade him to join them. So this is another one for the academy. Leeds in for a 16-year-old highly rated player. Do I think he'll come to Leeds? I do now, because we've obviously got Greenwood, we've got Gelhardt, we've shown Cody Drama. Players now, youth players, know the strategy at Leeds. They know they're going to get chances in the first team. They know we've got an incredible setup, and I think Leeds are one of the most attractive setups in terms of youth in the country at this moment in time. So I thoroughly believe, even with Liverpool contending with us, we can get someone like Sam Campbell over the line. But yeah, so this is something I touched on yesterday as well with Malinovsky. So we'll just go over this again. The Telegraph have claimed that Leeds are also considering Malinovsky, who would be a cheaper option at just 20 million. He had a hand in 15 goals last season, even netting in the Champions League against Man City. We spoke about this yesterday as well. Asked about Malinovsky, Rodrigo, who commentates on Serie A football and is an expert in the area, stated that he'd be happily surprised if Leeds landed the Ukrainian ace on both De Paul or Malinovsky. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people talking about this kid. Doesn't feature consistently for Atalanta, but he's a wonderful player, Ukrainian all-star. And I would love someone like Malinovsky. Go check him out. Some of his goals are just unbelievable. And once again, it's nice to know that is someone who Leeds are exploring. Phil's confirmed it this morning. Obviously, Mike McGrath, who you guys know that I talk about all the time in terms of sources, has also confirmed it. So it's really good to know that Leeds are exploring such quality alternatives. So you've got to be sort of feel assured in that, really. With regards to another one as well, the Angus Gunn, that's been mentioned a couple of times. Apparently, Southampton are willing to let Angus Gunn go, which is great for me. But I don't know. You heard this morning on the Phil Hay podcast once again, Leeds are targeting a cam and a winger. Is the keeper going to be a target? I think it's a massive mistake if it's not. That's not to slate on Melee. I've told you this multiple times, guys. I just think he needs help. I think he needs a bit of experience around him. You don't see many 20-year-old keepers in this division without help behind them. You know, it's very rare. So I just think he needs a little bit of additional help in that area. You know, I think he needs it. You know, he's only a kid. So yeah, that's my personal opinion. So, yeah, it's a lot going on at this moment in time. But as well, IndyCar News have reported today that apparently Leeds have explored a loan option for Xherdan Shaqiri. Now, it was an interesting one, Xherdan Shaqiri. I didn't expect that one to be explored by Leeds United. But Xherdan Shaqiri, once again, he fit the mould really well. He's been part of a Liverpool setup that have won things. He's been successful. He's played for Bayern Munich. Obviously, the biggest of those, lots Stoke City, but he's had a cracking career, and I think he'd fit in at Leeds. He's a grafter, he's a hard worker. It's just not worked out for him at Liverpool, obviously, with regards to the front three, which is going to be very difficult for any attacking forward to get in with. But I really like Xherdan Shaqiri. I've always liked him. I think he'd fit in well at Leeds. Whether or not that's off the bench, it probably will be. But once again, is it a loan to buy? Would it be an obligation to loan? Is it a Leeds going to have to pay some contribution to the wage structure? But it's really interesting. A very random one again today from IndyCar News, who he's okay. He's a bit hit and miss, but he has reported some factual things, probably 60, 70% of the time, coming out today and saying that apparently Leeds have inquired for Shaqiri. We obviously know that we've got another loan player that we can bring in, whether or not that's going to be Dan James, whether or not that's going to be Xherdan Shaqiri, whether or not that's going to be a case of Leeds signing an actual winger for a transfer fee, who knows? But Phil Hay reporting this morning that we are just looking at a cam. We are just looking at a winger as well. So, yeah, a bit disappointing in terms of a goalkeeper for me, but it's definitely something to look out for. Guys, I've rambled on for 20 minutes now exactly. I hope you've enjoyed this version of the Rumour Mill. It's been, it goes quick when I'm talking. This is why I need a coffee every time afterwards. But we've got your Oppo preview coming out later on. You'll need to watch that. It is, as I said at the start, if you missed it, it's a spicy preview with some Sheffield United fans. Obviously, there's no love lost between both clubs, and you can tell that on the preview. So make sure you tune in for that. We've obviously got all your stuff over the weekend. My official preview will be out tomorrow. Obviously, Leeds United playing on Sunday. So my official preview will be out tomorrow, where I'll just chat to you guys for 10 minutes about the game. So make sure you tune in for that. We've obviously got your watch along, your pre-match build-up, instant match reaction. Hopefully, we'll have the final word as well. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned for all that good stuff, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe as you always do. Stay tuned in, stay clocked in, and I'll have some content out for you later on. Have a cracking one, guys, and I'll see you in a bit.